All right, in this video we're looking at how to multiply binomials together. The set of steps in the upper right-hand corner here is going to indicate what we should do to solve these problems. Basically, we're going to distribute, then we're going to combine like terms, and then simply write our answer in descending form. So let's go ahead and begin with this first binomial pair. We're going to make sure that 2x multiplies by everything in the second parenthesis. So we'll have 2x times 3x, which is going to give you 6x squared, right? Because 2 times 3 is 6, and x times x is x squared. Remember, we keep the common base and add the exponent. Then we're going to multiply 2x times positive 7, which is going to give you a plus 14x. Now the 2x is multiplied everything in the second parenthesis, we're going to multiply the negative 4 by everything in the second parenthesis. So negative 4 times 3x is going to give you negative 12x. And then finally, negative 4 times a positive 7 is a negative 28. Now from here, we see that we have two terms in the middle that are alike. That often is the case, so what we're going to do is go ahead and combine them together. So if you have 14x's and you take away 12x's, you're left with only 2x's. Then you have the minus 28, and lastly, we have 6x squared out in front. All right, let's take a look at this second example, example B. All right, so same set of steps, we're going to distribute. So we're going to make sure this term, negative 3x, multiplies by everything in the second parenthesis. So if I have negative 3x times a positive 3, I end up with a negative 9x. Then if I do negative 3x times negative 4x, the negatives make a positive when multiplied because there are two negatives there. And 3 times 4 will make 12. And then we have x times x, that's going to give you x squared. Remember, you keep the base and add the exponents there. Okay, so we've multiplied the negative 3x times everything in the second parenthesis. Now let's go ahead and do positive 2 times everything in the second parenthesis. So positive 2 times 3 is plus 6. And then finally, we're going to have positive 2 times a negative 4, which gives you negative 8x. So notice we have on our paper initially 4 little terms. And those terms are a result of multiplying two binomials together. Remember, binomial means there are two terms in each of the polynomials. So if you multiply two terms times two terms, you'll get 4 products, right? Because 2 times 2 is 4. Now once you have it at this stage, it's time to combine like terms. So I'm going to look around and combine anything that's common. So it looks like we have this negative 9x and we have a negative 8x. If I put them together, it'll give me negative 17x. I have plus 12x squared plus 6. All right, so we're almost done. We just need to put the polynomial into descending form. So I like to have the 12x squared out in front because that is our highest degreed term, right? That's because the x there has the highest exponent of all the terms left on the paper. Then we have minus 17x, which will be the next highest power, right? The x to the 1 power. And then finally the constant, which will always go last. So we have plus 6. And that's our solution. Okay, so now we're down to our last example. We're going to start by distributing. So we'll take this first x and bring it into the parenthesis here. So x times minus 3x is going to give you negative 3x squared. Then from there, I'm going to bring the x into the second term of that second parenthesis. So it'll be x times positive y. That's going to give you a positive xy. There isn't anything more to do with those two. We just basically, because they have unlike bases, we just put them next to one another to indicate they're being multiplied. All right, so the x is multiplied by everything in the second parenthesis. Now we're going to do the negative 2y times everything in the second parenthesis. So minus 2y times negative 3x is going to give you a positive 6xy. And then lastly, we'll do negative 2y times a positive y. So we'll end up having a negative 2y squared. Negative 2y squared. All right, and so again, we need to combine like terms to finish up the problem. I'm going to go ahead and write negative 3x squared here on our paper, and then I'm going to look at these two terms in the middle here, and notice that they're both xy terms, right? We have 1xy plus 6xy. If I put that together, I'll end up with 7xy minus 2y squared, and that is our final answer.